Education has changed by leaps and bounds throughout the past 300 years, yet in recent times the changes have been less substantial. Schools during the colonial era were one-room schoolhouses that focused on teaching grammar as well as Greek and Latin in order for people to be able to read and understand the Bible. As time progressed and the Enlightenment era emerged, the focus was turned towards pure education. Higher education schools were developed, including some of the Ivy Leagues. In recent years, America has progressed as a country. Although with the amount of money available for education, America is slightly behind the curve as compared to other countries in the world. There are acts like No Child Left Behind that have tried to reform education but have done the exact opposite, creating fierce competition for federal funding. The education system needs to be reformed if America hopes to remain as a superpower. Education has progressed tremendously over the past 300 years and has shifted from a religiously focused environment to a strictly educational one, attempting to give kids education necessary to become successful within a modern society.
Education during the colonial era greatly reflected the ideas of those settling in the New World. With a strong focus on religion, many New England families insisted that children go to school to learn how to read the Bible. The majority of these schools were simple grammar schools where students spent 7 years learning Latin and Greek, the first being the Boston Latin School in 1635. This form of education proved to be very effective, and about a year later, Massachusetts and Connecticut passed education acts requiring all towns to establish grammar schools. Although this improved the region's literacy rate, the schools were not maintained very well. Colleges also played a significant role during this time with the establishment of Harvard and Yale, then known as the Collegiate School. Harvard was founded in 1636 when the Massachusetts General Court received £400 and another £800 with the death of John Harvard. The college admitted a dozen 14-year-old boys and taught theology, logic, and mathematics. Around the 1690s, however, the school became known for promoting religious toleration, which prompted several graduates to start a new college. This was the Collegiate School, and for several years it strictly incorporated religion into its teachings. Like Harvard, though, the school quickly began to move away from religious purposes as well. As the colonies began to move away from the foundation set by the original founders, so did religious beliefs and education philosophies. The Great Awakening, although mainly a religious movement, had a huge effect on higher education and brought the establishment of many colleges currently a part of the Ivy League. Beginning in 1741, the president of Yale criticized the theology of itinerant ministers. This led to New Light supporters withdrawing their support from the college and led many of these people to go on and establish the College of New Jersey, now Princeton, in 1746. Different sects within Christianity also established schools, including the College of Rhode Island, now Brown, which was founded by Baptists in 1765, and Dartmouth College, which was founded by New Light Congregationalists in 1769. Around the same time as the Great Awakening came the Enlightenment era. This time had a much greater focus on education and brought about changes in the way people thought. With a new understanding of the natural world, people began to believe the idea that impersonal scientific laws govern the behavior of all matter, animate and inanimate. During this time, colleges began to move farther away from religion, and fewer graduates were becoming ministers. One philosopher who changed many ideas about teaching was John Locke. He presented a general theory of knowledge on the education of youth, proposing that the mind was a blank tablet prior to experience. He believed that learning comes about only through experience, and the best way to provide students with a proper education was to teach through example. Many other philosophers and philosophies came up during this era as well, but the writings of John Locke are still regarded as some of the most influential of the time.
Get out in that kitchen and rattle those pots and pans. Get out in that kitchen and rattle those pots and pans. Well, roll my breakfast.
Pick it up.
Throughout the 20th century, American education was in a period of transition, well on its way to becoming standardized and scientific. As the United States recovered after World War II, education was one of the most crucial areas of reform. Created in 1901, the SAT became the first and most successful college entrance exam. Throughout the early 20th century, John Dewey successfully intertwined education and democracy. He believed that a person must be educated in order to participate effectively in democracy. In 1958, the first competitor to the SAT, the ACT, was created. During the 1960s, Presidents John F. Kennedy and Dwight D. Eisenhower worked hard to finally desegregate schools, composed of both blacks and whites. This was put into effect after the Supreme Court case Brown v. Board of Education. In 1983, Ronald Reagan published A Nation at Risk, The Imperative for Education Reform. In this famous report, Reagan recommended 38 improvements in 5 major categories: content, standards and expectations, time, teaching, and leadership and financial support. Set by the U.S. Congress in the 1990s, a system of national education goals was created. In 2001, George W. Bush passed the No Child Left Behind Act, which drastically changed teaching methods in the United States. After 8 years, in 2009, the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act was passed. This act allocated $100 billion in education funding, yet the extent of its impact is still up in the air.